Hey y'all, welcome back to the farm. And right now I want to show you how to prep your hazelnuts for the winter and so that they will sprout for you happily in the spring. So if any of you watched my chestnut video, make sure to go back and check that out if you didn't. But I do have my labels that I mentioned in these videos that go in the buckets. So this one is my Chinese. Look, this label is literally a plastic fork written on with a garden marker. Make sure you use a garden marker, not a Sharpie. Permanent marker is not permanent when you're doing stuff outside. A garden marker is. Here's the other one, the colossal, just setting it right on top. Nothing special. Those are ready to go. Okay, hazels. Check out the hazel. Another label. You want them ready for that? For the hazelnuts, it's going to be a lot like the chestnuts. So if you want that extra information from the hazelnut or from the chestnut video, go back and check that out. But for hazelnuts, we do not need to float test hazelnuts. Most of the hazelnuts actually do float if you put them in water. And it's normal and natural and okay for the hazelnuts to dry down a little bit. Through the winter, they'll be sitting out, they'll be moist the whole time, they'll be able to absorb whatever water they need. But when they're harvested, they're often dried down a little bit. Makes dehusking easier. But the kernel inside the nut can often shrivel up slightly and pull away from the shell and actually become loose inside of there. So, I forgot if these are actually two more chestnuts. These are American chestnuts. Like the real deal American chestnuts. I have this one been wiped out. But here I have all my hazelnuts. These are all hybrid hazels. I have, can you see them? There you go. 200 nuts here that we're going to be putting in. You can see they're a lot smaller than a chestnut. They don't take up nearly as much space. We don't need a container that's nearly as big. So, what I was saying, the kernel dries up, and when you shake it, you can kind of hear or feel the kernel rattling around inside. And that's normal and okay. Can't really hear it though. But in both of these, you can hear them or feel them shaking around in there. But one thing I recently learned is it turns out you can actually crack a hazelnut, take the kernel out, and actually plant it naked. It's not recommended, but it's possible. It doesn't actually hurt the nut if you were to crack the shell off and still kind of plant it. So again, a lot like our chestnut video, we're going to get a container with drainage. And here I'm just using a piece of Tupperware. This has smaller holes in it than the chestnuts did. There's no reason for that. It's just the drill bit that was already in the drill. Just did more holes. I can't tell you exactly how many or what size drill bit to use, but use one that's big enough and with enough holes that water can get in, and then water can then drain out the other side too. So, okay, we got that all set to go. Hazelnuts, again, we are not float testing hazelnuts. It's not a good measure of viability. So in this case, what we're going to do is just plant them all or stratify them all. Here, all we need to do, we're going to add sand to our container. Since these are so small, the hazels are, generally, there's actually some quite large hazels here. Don't need to use nearly as big as a container. Just going to spread them out here. bit of space, a little spot to sit. A little more sand. Just a few more hazels here. A few more hazels. All covered. That is it. These are very simple. Now, the trick to all this is going to be keep an eye on it through the winter and into early spring, probably March, when we really need to start checking, probably on a weekly basis, but we're going to start looking for them to start to germinate. There'll be a little radical that comes out, and we want to catch them right when they start to germinate before the radicals get too long, because if we damage that radical, it will hurt the plant. It might not grow, and if it does, it could be stunted or deformed. So we need to catch them early when they first start to germinate. So again, in March or so, we're going to start checking weekly. All that's left to do is I got my label in there. Here's my lid. Lid goes on, and then just like the chestnuts, this is going to be planted, buried in my mulch pile. If you don't have a mulch pile, you can just bury it right in the ground and dig a hole somewhere out of the way, so you're not going to be running over it, tripping over it, whatever. But somewhere out of the way, and you can just bury this right in the ground. I'm going to do that with chestnuts, these hazelnuts, and actually what I'm going to do with these two little guys, I'm going to try just putting them in a little Ziploc bag with a little sand, and I'll just throw it in one of these buckets and see how it goes. So, anyways, thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, helpful, entertaining, please like. If you want to see the follow-up in the spring or throughout the winter, how these are doing, these hazelnuts or the chestnuts for that matter, please subscribe, and look forward to seeing you next time.